You are listening to the Wildlife Photography Podcast with Rob Reed and Josh Galicki, bringing together the love of nature and photography. Episode 49, the BirdFair interviews with Vince Maidens. Well, welcome to the Wildlife Photography Podcast. My name's Rob Reed, and I've got my co-host Josh Galicki to my right. Josh, been wonderful BirdFair. This is the third podcast we've done.
It's been fantastic. There's nothing like this in the United States, and it's so good to be here. And it's so great to meet so many people across the UK and folks, frankly, from all over Europe. So and the this world. Man here, Vince Maidens.
Yeah. Oh. Welcome, Vince Maidens, to the podcast.
Thank you. Welcome. About time. I mean, geez. I've known you guys a long time, and here we are.
Exactly. So, Vince, why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a 54-year-old wildlife photographer from Canada that's living here in the UK now, and I'm very owly. I've been an owl photographer for most of my life. Focused on snowy owls for about 30 years consistently. Had tens of dozens of them on my property over the years, and dealt with everything from people just wanting to see them, and then people trying to bait them with all kinds of things, rodents, cats, you name it. People taking the wrong path of trying to get an image, right? And it progressively got worse. Early 2000s, nobody had gear, so you wouldn't get a lot of visitors. You get the odd one, but then as technology progressed and the commoditization of photography became more and more democratized, people started being able to take advantage of their ideas. Some of them were not good, and coming up and trying to take photographs of owls in a unethical way. I just wasn't going to have it. So I would be constantly policing the area of trying to get people to do things correctly or just go away.
Yeah. Right, which brings us on really to the subject that we wanted to discuss. Something spicy for the last spicy for the last podcast, and that's the ethics of bird photography.
Absolutely.
And how things have changed, particularly over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Particularly in relation to contest rules.
Absolutely.
And how actually they're being a lot more progressive.
So you want me to just jump right into that?
Yeah, just jump right in.
So social. I initially blamed social media for it because people have, you have the universe in your hand now. You've got platforms like Instagram, Facebook, all these other ones that showcase images and videos. And people are seeing this feed that they aren't necessarily part of, other than the fact that they looked at something. So if you look at it for 3 seconds, Instagram, Facebook, all these other algorithmic processes are going to take over and continually feed you that. So you're going to get fed this stream of imagery. So I know every winter, if I look at somebody's snowy owl image, I'm going to get 6,000 more snowy owl images right afterwards. And that feeding of the beast, basically, for people wanting to get likes and thinking that, okay, if I get this really dramatic image, I can enter it into a contest. And for years, that was acceptable. Yeah. For years, you could put stuff in the WPY and contests like that, and it would be passed through because the image was dynamic. It didn't matter how it was achieved; it was just dynamic, and that's what they're looking for.
Years ago, people didn't see an owl flying straight at the camera, right? I mean, once it starts, like, wow, look at this.
Yeah. I
once in a lifetime moment that happens every 10 seconds on Instagram.
Exactly. I sat for years and I got maybe 4 direct head-on shots, right? So it can happen. It's just very rare. But when you see guys go on workshops and there's a million shots coming in, you know how it's done, right?
Yeah.
So petitioning the contests to change tact and build in a more ethic pattern to how they accept entries was a big deal. I know I did it. I know Andy Parkinson did it. I know Georgina Stetler did it. There's a lot of folks that just could see what was happening, saw the trend, and a lot of people decided this can't stand, right? This has to stop. So.
No, and it's a lot about changing attitudes, because it's explaining to people the effects of what they're doing, because there are so many more people out there going and photographing these things. It's not like the 1970s or 1980s anymore, where there are a handful of people doing it, and you could argue that the effects were minimal of this sort of behavior. But now there are tens of thousands of people out there going out there doing it, and as you said, they see these images on social media and they want to tick that box. They want that image. They want that. I mean, we always talk about diving gannet images, don't we, on the on the podcast. We've discussed it many times, and I always use it as the great example of that. I mean, when I first saw that image in Bird Photography of the Year 8-9 years ago, all the judges in there are going, wow, this is an amazing thing.
Yeah,
it just blows you away. And so then you release that image in the competition, and you give it a global audience, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to do that image, and there's been a great
it's that knock-on effect that people see the image, they want to achieve that level of they want that image for themselves, they want to go and maybe enter it into a contest if they get something that's semi-unique to them at least, and it just now that you've seen it once, you know how it's done, and once you know how it's done, it's not really the image worth taking again, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's when competition becomes a bit toxic too. And these are copycat images. So somebody sees something, they want to recreate that scene or recreate that shot, and they'll go through extraordinary lens and pay a lot of money just to get that
absolutely.
shot. But are they paving new ground when it comes to photography?
No,
they're not. I can tell you, we had the next year with the diving gannet example, we had loads of them.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're all thinking, well, they awarded it last year. And some of them were better, but it's already been done. So you're not going to do it again. But and then I go back to the other classic example is the diving kingfisher.
Right.
If people understood how, not all, but most of those images were taken, I think they'd be shocked.
Yeah. I mean, there's a certain Scottish guy up north that is more than happy to take your money and put fish in a fish tank and let the kingfisher go nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, you just where do you even start with that, right? As being a way to treat an animal. Plus, why should anything die for you to get a photo? It's not. There's no value in an image if it's taken like that. So,
and a lot of wildlife photographers, they see it being a no-no from the sense of it's a shortcut. People will think I made I took a shortcut to a good image, but they don't think of the downstream effects to the animal. Like owls, for instance, Vince. Talk a little bit about what are the downstream effects.
Well, so you've got a bird that's mostly going to be nocturnal. I mean, you have diurnals like the shorties and snowy owls. I forget the bird. They will be around in the daytime, but then you've got completely nocturnal animals normally, like barn owls, which are aside from Norfolk and Lincolnshire and Yorkshire, you're not going to find birds that hunt in the daytime. So when you see barn owls, if it's coming from somewhere else other than those three places, you really got to question how it was done. But you figure they are trying to rest. They are living on the edge all the time. It's not like they're going out and going to the grocery store and saying, I'm going to buy X amount of food for the week. Yes, they do cache, but it's not in huge numbers. People think that just because they see a barn owl going out multiple times, that they're caching all this food. No, they're feeding chicks, right? So you've got either the barn owl itself that is going to be calorie depleted, or you're depleting the calories of the babies, right? So when you start impacting that, and the nutrient density in a store-bought mouse, because mostly people that bait with mice will get store-bought mouse. It's very small. It's not really worth the flight for them, but they do it because instinct tells them, mouse.
Yeah, they're genetically programmed. Right?
Rodent, go for it.
Yeah.
So you've got animals flying for very little value. So how do you know? Are you actually giving them the nutrient density they need to survive? You don't. Unless you're a zoologist and you're monitoring the blood work of that bird, you have no clue what you're actually giving them.
Yeah.
Right? So people don't see that, or I've seen it before too. Well, they couldn't bait on my property, so I'll go across the street or the road and bait them across the road. Well, if the bird doesn't come right away and it takes a while to see it, and a truck comes along, what do? You've killed something.
Yeah.
Right. So there's all these things, and you get the guys that have the hides, right? And they think that feeding them's okay. I don't do it every day, and da-da-da-da-da. But you're doing it for money, right? So you're basically exploiting the animal. You don't know what you're feeding them is actually of proper value to them. Could be just chicks that are male chicks that have been culled for the egg laying process. And again, these are not trained people, right? They're not. Yeah. They're just seeing this. I have a bird. They have money. I take money. They shoot bird. I happy. Right. That's all that matters to them. It's not anything but. Yep. And they wrap it in. It's conservation and blah blah blah. I hear that same shit all the time. Yeah. Right. And it's so. On my podcast the other day, I had interviewed the BirdLife International CEO and asked him. Because I need the research to get people to buy into the fact that this is not good. And he's actually going to try to get the research started. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. And so the more people do this and the more images that appear online, then it's just a self-perpetuating thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the problem. And as someone who runs a photography contest, I feel like I have a responsibility as part of that educational process. And I think contests absolutely have a responsibility to do this.
Can't agree more.
Yeah. Because it's not just restricted to owls or kingfishers or whatever. I mean, you could even take things like hummingbirds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something as simple as that. Yeah. And the sugar water feeders. And the effect that has on, pollination.
That's right.
around those areas. And these are things that people don't see and they don't think about.
That's right.
But actually it makes complete and utter sense, because if you give a bird a food source that actually is easier to access, and they expend less calories to actually,
exactly.
What is, as you say, what is actually the nutritional value of what you're giving them, number one, and two, what other effects are you having, and if you are having that effect on pollination, then
we're doomed.
Well, this is it. And all you're doing is to set up the same, and I've seen these setups. It's put your camera on the tripod here. There are all the flash setups. These are the settings you want.
I'll change the background for you.
And when they come in, you press the button.
Yeah.
And from a photography point of view,
it's hard.
Where is the skill in that?
Well, there's no skill, and there's really, when you think about it, in that you break it down like you just did. There's no reward other than this photo that everybody else that's sitting within the proximity of you has got, and everybody who's been there for the past 2 years has got. Right? So just go. You're better off to just go and ask to buy a memory card and go home.
Yeah, but I've seen this on social media. It gets loads of likes.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. So for the owl stuff, now I tend to be a little bit more militaristic than others, and people get upset when I say things, and fine, I don't give a shit. It's because I believe that if we don't call out what we see, we can't be nice to everything all the time. Everybody doesn't deserve a trophy. Mental health is important. I know this better than a lot of people. But you cannot justify your needs over the many, right? And in this case, if you're impacting the birds, you are impacting everybody else's ability to see them as well, right? So it's a tough one to get communicated to people, especially when money's involved.
Yeah, and it's not just restricted to birds. I mean, it happens.
And that's the difficult road, too, when it comes to ethics. I think there's been a lot of progress in bird photography, but macro photography, it's very rarely discussed. Talk about setup scenes, curated
frozen
scenes, putting spiders on mushrooms. I mean, the whole thing, it's like putting together a Lego set and taking an image when you think about it. And rarely is it ever discussed in some of these other communities, especially macro photography.
Yeah, and we can all pick these images out, can't we? We see them in magazines or whatever. And you get the backstory behind it. It's used to illustrate an article that might be talking about a field mouse or whatever it might be.
Yeah, you see a field mouse on a flower. I mean, come on, that's not natural.
Or a tree frog. On a bloom or something. That's not happened. Or a insect on an animal's nose. You know those things have been placed
absolutely
there. And
to the layman, though, a lot of them don't know. They just think it's an incredible image, and that helps perpetuate some of this behavior. That's why I think it's so important, like in contests, especially in WildArt now, Rob, that we're doing this, because if we don't draw the line in these contests, it's going to help perpetuate this behavior, because competitive behavior brings a lot of this stuff out.
Oh, well, I mean, people are, they're wanting the likes, but they also start saying, okay, my images are getting decent, I'm going to try to enter these contests.
Yeah.
They do that because they want to win, right? It's not because, my mom's going to like it if there's none of that. They want to win, and it's competitive. So changing that behavior at a fundamental level, I think, is paramount. And you guys thinking this is the path we're going to take for the contest. We want people to start seeing things in a different way. We want people to use the creative tools that they have and build images that are something meaningful to them and others, right?
I don't see it as prohibition. I just see it as an education.
Yeah.
And then you have a responsibility for that.
It's a facilitator for change and to be better, right? That's what I see it as. I don't see it as you saying, no, this is not happening. I'm seeing it as, be creative, spend the time out in the field, learn what you're actually doing, learn your subject, and enjoy wildlife. Don't. I think that's exactly what you're communicating.
And change the attitude. You don't need to do these things to create something that's beautiful, because at the end of the day, that is what this contest is all about. It's about celebrating the beauty of birds.
That's right.
And of nature. You don't need to manipulate that situation
exactly
to achieve those images.
Exactly. And the images will be world class. That's what you'll get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so much more fulfilling when you've gone out and you've used your own field craft, your own photographic technique, and you've sculpted these images and you've created these images over time.
That's right.
It's so much more fulfilling than paying your money, going to a hide, shooting the same pictures that everybody else has shot, and then having this long-term effect, this cumulative effect on the very subject that you're shooting, you're trying to celebrate.
Exactly.
And these subjects are typically rare, right? I mean, people are paying money, they're going into hides not to shoot a Canada goose, frankly, right? They're doing and you can get amazing images of Canada geese and the common subjects. I mean, we see it all the time. Some of the best, most artistic images we see, they're common subjects.
Yeah. Well, I think people are starting to get it, that it doesn't. I don't have to go on a safari all the time, and I don't have to go on these big trips. I can be in my local patch, become an expert in my local patch and what the subjects are, and do it well. Yeah. Right.
First winner of Bird Photographer of the Year.
Absolutely.
Mute Swan. Well, Andy's Mute Swan.
Yeah.
Yuri.
Yeah.
He won category in Wildlife Photographer of the Year with a crow.
That was that plastic crow, though, wasn't it?
I just looked like he's a little shaky.
We've been ribbing him all weekend about that.
No. If you look at somebody like Yuri, he is probably one of the most creative photographers on the planet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he does it at a level that, one, I don't understand how he does it really, and two, he
neither does he.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. But he's happy to communicate it, right? And it looks so different to anybody else's work. I can pick it out in a heartbeat, just because it's so different.
It's got a signature.
He does. We want people to have their own voice, right? Yeah. Photography is a way to speak to people in visual form and getting them to use their voice. You don't want to have the same message that everybody else does, right? Yeah. I don't want to talk to somebody and have the same conversation over and over.
Yep. Which is what you're doing if you're going to the same hives, taking the same bird on the same perch.
You may be developing a photo, you may be learning how your camera works, but your voice is nothing. You're a mute. Yep. So it's of no value.
And Vince, you make a good point. You were talking about Yuri before. It's important to share information. Sharing information is a powerful and great tool. So many photographers, especially if they take shortcuts, they don't want people to know how they took this image, right? I mean, so that's why it's so important too to talk about fieldcraft, share information. It comes back to you. I mean, it's important. So many photographers, great photographers, and I know them, they go out of their way not to share information. Yeah. I get it when it comes to sensitive spots on birds, but when it comes to fieldcraft and how they take an image, they don't want people to know because they think it's this best-kept secret, but it's actually not.
No. I mean, people that are skilled will be able to look at most images and say, I can figure, like the bird potty one this year. Yeah. That had a bit of a challenge.
Multiple external camera. Multiple exposure.
Yeah. That, I mean, it was clear physics wise, it was impossible, right? Yeah. But not having the judges in place to look at that image and critically discern what they were seeing led to the outcome, right? So you picking the people you've picked, you setting the standards, the ethics, all the compliances and the policy around it is, I think, game changing. I think it's going to actually bring up other contests because people are going to want to be judged by the best because they know that those people can produce the images. If you're getting judged by somebody that you don't know because they haven't been published until it's way past the date of entry, you don't know what their style's like. For me, I want to tailor my entry. So if I know that Andy Parkinson's judging, I know what Andy likes to shoot, I'm going to try to figure out what in my portfolio matches that. It's just common sense, right? But if you have people that know what good is, it just takes a lot of the pain points out. And you feel if you win that category, if you win that contest, you've done something.
It means that much more.
It does. Yeah.
It does. And I think that we've talked about this on the podcast before, but one of the things that connects all these people that are producing these amazing images and the people that get themselves in a position to judge these contests, which is absolutely right, is they are insanely curious about everything. Yeah. And how are you going to feed that curiosity by sitting in the same hide or being dished up that image, but you just want to pay for it? It's not going to happen. So you're not going to be winning those competitions or getting anywhere near it because you're not producing the images which are going to resonate with those judges.
And if you've seen the image before, your chances are you're not putting it up, right?
Yeah.
And if you've seen it 10,000 times, just slightly different, you're really not putting it up, right? Yeah. So be creative, get out there, use your eye and try things. The camera has many settings. Yeah. Just play around. If you figure out what you like aesthetically and it works for you and you want to enter it, go ahead, right? Try things. Just be challenging to yourself. Yeah.
Where do you think the future of all this is, and what would you like to see, as an outcome, I guess?
The AI thing is going to be a challenge because people can create very, very realistic images now.
Especially with photojournalism, right? When you have a powerful image and people look at it and they're like, well, is this real? Is this really happening to the animal or is it not? The distrust is scary.
Exactly. And we're in this post-truth society anymore too, right? Where, people don't trust media. They don't trust news. It's going to be that much more impactful. So I think that's going to be a bit of an ugly thing for a while. But I think out of it, people are going to want authenticity. They're going to want real. As the generated product becomes more and more prevalent in our lives, people will start, I think, craving real experiences, real visuals, real
you can't
voices.
Recreate an experience, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You can recreate an image, but it'll be hollow, but knowing the story behind it, right? Yeah. And what I try to do with any image I make is tell a story, right? And I think if you can communicate the story, it's equal to the image, and you just don't get that with AI. So I think what'll happen is people will start to crave real, and they'll go out of their way. They'll spend on it. They'll want that real experience, and they'll want to be able to make something that they know they took themselves and it's real.
Do you think those images will stand out? Obviously more and over and those sort of AI generate, because AI frightens the hell out of me as a competition organizer. Because you just don't know where it's going to go.
Because they can now generate with certain models. You can generate a raw.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is just it's a frightening prospect. Because we can all get caught out. We can all have those WPY moments. We can all have those Bird Photography of the Year moments. Yeah. We'd nearly had it in WildArt before. At last minute, I got just the certain image. There was one image in particular, and I went, this just doesn't look right. And the judges had all looked at it, and something inside my brain was saying this butterfly does not look right. And of course, I looked at it closely, and then I looked at the information again, the metadata information on it, and then this butterfly's upside down.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be. And how can it be shot at that shutter speed and get a sharp image with it in flight?
Yeah, exactly.
Everything was too perfect. So in the end, I worked out what had happened.
But that takes a trained eye. Yeah. You can't just expect somebody that's an influencer, say.
And all the other judges missed it.
Yeah. That's right. So you need that panel you need people like-minded with their eyes tuned in, and some are going to miss it and some are going to catch it. Right. Yeah. It's a tough one. The AI is going to make our lives challenging for sure.
And everything we upload to the web, correct me if I'm wrong, you know a lot about we're training the model, right?
Yeah.
And it's And when you take your work, you want to share your work, right? I mean, it's a catch-22 at the end of the day. But I hope it has a good impact.
Yeah, I
mean, I really do. People are going to, even Gen Z, look at Gen Z. I see kids out here now with film cameras, right? People are going back to analog.
Yeah.
I'm spinning vinyl again, you know?
Yeah. One of the things I found at the Bird Fair that was awesome was the amount of young people that were here.
Yeah.
And the young photographers we've had come up and said, I want to get on with this career. Can you give us some advice?
Yeah, they don't have the bad habits yet. And they're creative. They've become this content creator mentality, and some are actually using it for value.
And I'll tell you what surprised me more than anything else this weekend is the amount of people of an older generation, shall I say, that have come up, the sort of people that will be taking literal images all their lives are coming up and said, I actually want to do something a little different. I want to embrace this creativity. I'm really pleased this is now in the space to allow me to have a bit of a voice.
Yeah.
And that shocked me because these are the sort of people before that would go, no, you can't change their minds on this, but they're seeing the value of adding in that sort of creative element.
That's right.
It takes that sort of, it takes that area away from objectivity to subjectivity and discussion and emotion and everything else. It allows people to see different things in different images. And I don't think you can do that with those homogenized situations that we're talking about.
No, you can't. And people they're seeing so much of the same content. I think it's starting to trigger people where they do think, okay, I'm bored of this. I've seen this over and over. What's next?
Yeah.
So maybe it's going to be people that do.
And the amount of people that were turning around to me and say, I hate Instagram, for example. We're all still using it, right?
Because they want to sell their work, not their personality. And Instagram has turned into this personality sell for a lot of people.
You've got to I've got to make reels. I've got to shoot my face. I've got to do selfies.
I've got to put music to my photos.
Oh, yes.
And my argument to that is,
typically it's bad music, Rob. I mean, come on, auto-tune on a photo?
No, you chose it.
So great, perfect. But it's so common now, and if you don't follow this formula, you don't succeed on Instagram. Well, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I don't need to. I've done fine doing other things. I'll just use other things.
And there will be another platform. I mean, Instagram is 100%. Not infinite. Yeah.
And people are investing so much time and effort into appeasing this one monster, right? And when it goes away, when they find it's not profitable anymore, right? What's next? They got to do it all again somewhere else?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Flickr will rise again.
Yeah, right. Yeah. 500 PX.
What was that?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, whatever.
And do you think social media has a responsibility?
They're never going to take it, but
they're
of
not.
course they do.
Of
course they do. Yeah.
Absolutely, feeding us this stuff, and then, I mean, it's giving us a mindset, or giving people a mindset as to what they should be taking and how they should be showing it.
Yeah, and you think about how weak the argument is of this whole thing. You're flashing through, and somebody clicks a heart, and that's where it ends.
Yeah, what is that, right? Yeah.
Right? So
what does it mean?
You got the heart, and then if you're really lucky, somebody's going to come in and go, oh, amazing, mate. Okay? And then they're going to, if they like that, you may respond, and they may respond to you, and there's your engagement pattern. Okay? That's all you're getting out of it. You're getting nothing else from that entire interaction. Now, if you're able to monetize that somehow, send me a message. I'll try it. But I don't think there's any value into this at all, other than press that button, get your dopamine hit.
Yeah.
God, Vince, it's been fascinating talking to you about this. I'm glad we've had this conversation. I said I'm glad we ended on something spicy as well.
We had the way to do this in person, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We could have done this remote, but hey.
Exactly, and it's been great fun, too.
We had a good weekend.
Honestly, Josh, I've had so much fun being able to record these with you live.
Yeah.
Because rather than sitting on the end of as a Zoom call, which is what we've always done it. The way we've
got a shout out to Oscar too, though.
Yeah. You've been great, Oscar.
Thanks, buddy.
Anyway, Vince, thanks for popping on. Hopefully
Anytime.
we can have a more detailed discussion about this another time. So
I think we should have a stage conversation about this at some point here.
Really get into the weeds of it. Anyway, Vince, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks
everybody for
Appreciate
listening.
it.
Anytime, guys.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
You have been listening to the Wildlife Photography Podcast. If you have enjoyed the content, then please help us to spread the word by sharing a link on your social media platforms, giving us a like, and leaving us a comment. See you all again next time.